You think the best work gets rewarded. You don't. And the gap between those two sentences is exactly where your career has been quietly disappearing for years. There is a guy 4 desks down from you. Call him Marcus. Marcus gets in at 9:07. Marcus is gone by 5 every day, no exceptions. His work is fine, not impressive, not bad, fine. And somehow Marcus is in every meeting that matters. Leadership names him when they talk about where the company is going. Marcus made manager last quarter. You have been here 4 years. You took the projects nobody else would touch. You stayed when the building was empty and the lot was down to 3 cars. You delivered, and you have the records to prove every bit of it. And you are standing exactly where you started. Here is the part nobody will say to your face. Marcus did not pass you by working harder. He did not pass you by being smarter. He passed you because he understood something you never did. There are 2 records of your performance at this company. You have only ever been shown one of them. The other one is where your career is decided. So that is what we are opening up. What sits on that record? The 3 moves people use to quietly rewrite it, and the single shift that hands you back control of a page you never knew existed. Every company gives you a record you can read, your title, your goals for the quarter, the review form with its neat rating scale from 1 to 5, the values on the wall by the elevator. It claims to measure one thing: competence. Do the work, hit the marks, move up. That is the version you have been optimizing for your whole career. Then there is the second record. It is not written down anywhere. It does not live in a system you can log into. It lives in the heads of the 4 or 5 people who decide what happens to you. And it does not track your output. It tracks one question, asked over and over, out loud by no one. When this person's name comes up, how do I feel? That is the record that moves people, not the spreadsheet, the feeling. And the feeling does not update when you ship something good. It updates in the hallway, in the thread you are not on. In the 90 seconds after a meeting ends, the door closes, and someone says your name while you walk back to your desk, proud of how it went, with no idea the real conversation just started without you. Most people never learn the second record exists. They spend a decade perfecting the first one and quietly wonder why it never pays out. You are not behind because your work is weak. You are behind because you have been winning a game that was never being scored. And the visible one feels so reasonable. Hit your goals, get your rating, advance. They told you that on day 1, so you trusted it. Here is what they left out. The rating is settled before the form ever opens. The form is paperwork, built to justify a verdict reached weeks earlier in a room you were not in. Once you know the second record exists, you start to see the moves people make to write on it. There are 3. They are quiet, they are everywhere, and all 3 have already been used on you. Move 1. Familiarity Engineering. There is real psychology under this one. People trust what feels like them. Same rhythm of speech, shared in-jokes, the same way of framing a problem. It is automatic. Nobody decides to trust the familiar face. They do it without noticing, and it feels good. So the person paying attention studies how a decision-maker talks. The pace, the words they reuse, what they find funny, what they care about most. Then, without ever making it obvious, they hand all of it back. The boss feels an easy, unearned comfort around them and could not tell you why. And comfort is what most decisions quietly run on. The capable stranger loses to the familiar face almost every time. Move 2. Reputation drift. This one is quieter, and it works the other direction. It does not make someone look better. It makes you look slightly worse, and it never once looks like an attack. A concern dropped lightly. A small thing somebody noticed. It's probably nothing, but one remark in one conversation lands as nothing. That is the whole design. No single one is sharp enough to point at. Drop enough of them, across enough hallways, over enough weeks, and they grow into a story. The story does the damage, never the line. The people who fall hardest are the ones who treat their track record like armor. It isn't. Your reputation gets built and taken apart in rooms you are never invited into, narrated by people you never get to correct. Move 3. Proximity credit. This is the one that happens right in front of you, and you let it because you do not know it is a move. You spend 3 weeks on something, you build it, you test it, you walk in and present it. Your boss nods. Good work. The room starts to move on. 10 seconds later, someone who touched none of it leans in. We should move on this fast. Your boss lights up, and a name gets stapled to the moment your work landed. Not yours. It is not theft exactly. Nobody claimed your project, they stood close to it the second it succeeded, and let proximity do the rest. In any room, the win sticks to whoever speaks last, or frames it most clearly, not to whoever built the thing. And the person who built it almost always goes quiet the moment the presentation ends. They think the work speaks for itself. It won't. Something always speaks for it. Make sure it is you. Now go back to Marcus. Gone by 5, remember. Watch 1 week of him and he stops looking lucky. Wednesday, 9:15. Your boss's office. Same laugh. Same words. 2 o'clock. The review. Let's ship it. 10 seconds after your work. Not his. Friday, a quiet aside about another team that is falling a little behind. 3 moves. 0 in his job description. All of them on the record that counts. Marcus is not better at the work. He is better at the record. And that has never once shown up on a review form. So that is the second record. And the 3 ways it gets written while you sit there, head down, doing the work, which leaves the only question that matters. If the game tilts toward whoever manages perception, what does someone with actual integrity do about it without turning into Marcus? You do not win this by getting louder. Volume is only noise, and noise gets tuned out fast. Speaking up here is not about being the loudest in the room. It is about occupying the space that is already yours, with clarity, at the moment it counts. That is the one shift. Stop letting other people narrate you. Here is what it looks like in 3 moves of your own. Author your own record. Never hand your story to chance. If you finished it, you are the one who presents it. If it went well, the right people hear in plain words what your part was. If it went wrong, your version, grounded in facts, exists before anyone else writes theirs. In every meeting that counts, find 1 moment to say something clear and relevant, not to perform, to be on record as present and thinking. Vagueness about your own work is not modesty. It is an empty space, and someone will fill it for you. Clarity is the one thing that consistently works in your favor. Watch what happens the first time you present your finished work in the room instead of emailing it and hoping. The win attaches to your face as it lands. You stole nothing. You refuse to leave the moment open for someone else to step into. Ration your dissent. There are moments when your opinion changes the outcome. The pay conversation, the real strategic call, the decision that sits inside your expertise. In those, speak with full weight. And there are far more moments when being right and loud about something small buys you nothing and quietly costs you standing you cannot easily rebuild. Telling those 2 apart is one of the most valuable skills you will build in any company. This is not about having no spine. Every interaction either adds to the second record or subtracts from it. Spending that capital on battles that do not matter is not principle. It is bad math. Build advocates above your line, not networking. Networking is trading cards you never use. This is narrower. Find the few people who sit in the rooms where your name comes up and make sure one of them can describe your work when you are not there to do it. Not a fan. A witness. Someone who says, I have seen what this person does, and here is what it moved. And you build that witness a year early, with no agenda. The one you recruit the week before promotions get decided reads as exactly what it is. The one you built a year ago reads as the truth. A witness is the only thing standing between you and whatever a stranger decides to say in a room you will never enter. Here is the part you are not going to want to hear. There is no opting out of this. Staying above the politics is not a neutral choice. The second record gets written whether you take part or not. So when you decide to stay clean and stay out of it, you are not keeping your hands clean. You are letting other people fill in your page. That is not integrity. That is forfeiting, slowly, with good posture. None of this turns you into Marcus. That is the part most people miss. Marcus manages the perception instead of doing the work. You are going to do both. That is the one pairing the second record cannot argue with. The people who move up are not always the most talented. They are the most aware. Aware the second record exists. Aware of the 3 moves. Aware that the work does not speak. That something always speaks for it. And that it may as well be you telling the truth in the rooms where it gets decided. Know the moves, build the witnesses, write your own page before someone hands you theirs. There is one more layer to this, and it is the one people find hardest to believe, because once you can see the second record, a question follows fast. Why do some people seem to live completely outside it? Every company has them. They bend the rules, they underdeliver, and somehow they cannot be touched. It is not luck, and it is not seniority. They have built a specific kind of leverage, and most people never realize it was on the table. The video on screen right now breaks down exactly what makes an employee untouchable, and the one form of leverage that quietly outranks performance, tenure, and even the second record itself. Watch that one next.